Hi, this is the Be Well with Michelle Greenwell podcast. Our heartwarming conversation is designed to lift you on your wellness journey. Grab your cup of tea and enjoy the podcast. Welcome to Be Well with Dr. Michelle Greenwell, and I'm very excited to just be talking to you by myself today without someone to interview. I do love all of the guests that I bring to the show, but sometimes it's nice to just be able to share with you some of the tools and ideas that I have and the ways that I work. And when I'm out doing markets, there's a lot of questions that come my way about what kind of work I do, how I do it, people trying to get a feel for what is it that I do when I say I have the Greenwell Center for Holistic Health. So I want to share a little bit with you today that is around Tai Chi, because a lot of people will ask me about how is it you have so much energy and vitality? And there's lots of things that I do, and that's the reason I'm actually in this space today, because this is my office, and this is the space where tea happens, but it's also where Tai Chi happens, touch for health, therapeutic touch, my singing bowls, the music of the plant. There are so many things that I get to do in this room. I wanted to be surrounded by some of it today. So let's get started. And the first is, I have a formula I work with to make sure that every time you're listening to one of my podcasts, it's a healing session for you. And so I invite you to think about what you want. And it might be for today, might be for the week, might be for the future, whatever you'd like to pull. And in what way might my conversation about your self-care and your care of yourself help you to achieve that goal? So now that you have that in mind, rather than start with tea, what I'm going to start with is an assessment. All right? So I want you to pull up on your ears and see if you have to change your posture in order for you to find straight. So I was all set up for this, but I'm talking to my computer as I'm doing this and recording this, and I immediately will move towards the computer. And that puts me in a hyper alert position. And so you noticed when I went to pull up, I still had to come back and find that space where my sternum could be supported so my breathing could be supported. Now, you might have had to come from the back of the chair. You might have had your legs crossed. You might have been slouched over because you're watching your computer to see this recording or to listen. Or maybe you're listening while you're driving in the car and you're curled up in your seat. So I just want you to think about what is the posture that you hold for the better part of your day that sustains and helps you build energy. So if you had to adjust how you were sitting, you have stress happening to you, and the system is in stress, and your systems are not going to be able to be in harmony with each other because you're going to have different places that are going to have more stress than others. So that creates an imbalance. If you're thinking of a wheel and a water wheel, the water coming around the wheel, if you have a part where there's more water and less on other sides, you then can imagine how things will function. All right, that's one. Now check in with your breath. That's a common one that most people get asked. And everybody knows a deep breath is important. But where is yours at the moment? Mine's there, but it's not feeling adequate this morning. So even though I'm ready to have this conversation with you, there's still room for improvement for me as well. Okay, those are two things that are very easy off the top. Then you've seen me on several podcasts ask people to turn their heads. So let's check in and see what's happening with your neck. So if you turn one way, see how far you can see. And what does it feel like to turn there? And then to the other side. And does it feel the same on both sides? Most people say, not really. And you may notice some creaking in your neck. You may notice a few muscles that come to attention. And you'll know how far you can see. Now, range of motion for being able to see is you should be able to see behind you. And when everything's working correctly, you likely can see well past straight behind you. So if that wasn't an answer for you today and it was more like straight to the side, that tells you how much stress is in the body, that you don't have a full range of motion. Now, if you think about range of motion and perspective, if you can only see to hear, what perspective are you missing to get the whole perspective in? Now, if you also only see forward, what do you miss on the sides? And what do you miss that's behind you? Okay, just some thoughts. All right. Now I'm going to ask you to think about first, when you turned your head, what went first? So if you need to do it again, go for it. Did your head turn first because your mind said, turn your head? And because I said, turn your head? Or did your belly go first and lead you there? Now, if we're integrated, our belly, without us thinking about it, is going to lead. We may not have done that. We may have gone head and then, belly could join in. But for whole body, you need it to move it as a whole unit. When you're finished with my podcasts, you should be going back and checking in if you've gained all the energy and vitality that you were looking for. And with a goal in mind, it means you have the energy put towards that goal, so you are ready to achieve what it is you really want to achieve. All right. So we've done those assessments. Let's get to tea, because that's the first thing we want to do. All right. So I don't know what you chose for the podcast for today. And if you didn't choose anything, water is always a good choice. But what I have today is Lucky Dragon tea. And this is from yesterday. I have saved it for today, put it in the fridge. So I have it cold as an iced tea today. And Lucky Dragon, I'm just going to read on the package what it says, creates a clear vision for outcome, then let go of your expectations. The journey is the reward. So keeping in mind your goal, the journey being the reward, what will you learn along the way towards your goal? And maybe your goal will change because of what you've learned. But if you don't know about things, how can you really plan for that trajectory straight? You need to allow for things to find you, to embellish what you want. And then as you get towards that final goal, you'll have gathered so much extra. The journey is the reward. So cheers. Thank you for joining me for the podcast. Now, I always include tea. One, because when you smell it, the very first thing you're going to do, when you can smell it, your senses awaken, but it bypasses the nervous system, goes straight back into the limbic system, and it connects you to the motor system. So remember I was talking about integration? Sense of smell is assisting with that. And we so often just totally ignore that sense unless we happen to be in the kitchen, we can smell our food. Maybe when we go outside, we might think about what it smells like. And it might be the smell of fresh cut grass, and it might be the smell after a rain. But we often aren't really thinking about what does it smell like to do these things. And we just carry on with our day. I'm going to have one more sip. Okay. Now, just to show you how things may have changed for you as a result of, you might not have had tea, and I'm the one sipping tea, but as a result of what we've talked about so far, let's see if anything has changed for us. So if I pull up, there's nowhere for me to go. I've already brought balance and flow into the structure of my system for the posture. That's pretty cool. All right, now if I go to turn my head, my belly is leaving first. It was not integrated when I started this morning. And it's still a little sticky. But there was an integration. So just doing that tiny little bit has already changed what's possible. Now, if you start doing that every day, you can imagine how in a short period of time, you're going to be making a big impact. Just having the posture where it is, your breath will be different. You need the sternum lifted in order for the full capacity to happen. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about tensegrity. And I talked about that a long time ago, like season 2 or something. All right, so I have my baby toy here, this beautiful piece. But what I like about it is it's a great example of tensegrity. And that is when you change one thing, what happens? So if I take this shape, which is a little bit misshapen, and if I just pull on one side, you can see how the structure is changing and the expansion that's within it. And that's what's happening when we make one change. Now, we set a goal. We did some assessments to measure what's happening, and we sipped on some tea. We added the affirmation that came from the tea package, and the tea packages on the Cape Breton Tea Company are all infused with different kinds of energy. So they're not just putting the label on the tea. They are empowered already with how I put the label together. So you have a lot of energy that can be pulled from if you choose. And with tensegrity, one change, the expansion that you can create. And it affects everything because you can see how all the elastics here are all being affected by this one change. Now you think about your life and you think about your relationships, your opportunities, your imagination, your creativity, your home life, the family that you hang out with. You think about all those things. If you make one change, how is that going to affect all those around you? And how's that going to affect beyond you? So that one change could change your community. So on Tuesdays, I participate with Toast and Tea. I love volunteering for that and watching what happens when people come through the door to share breakfast together and talk with the neighbors, meet new people. It's so beautiful. Now, my one effort towards that, there's a team, I'm not the only one, but my one effort means that I have a ripple effect to all those people who are having breakfast and to all the people that they will see after breakfast, because everybody leaves with a smile on their face. They're so lifted and happy when they go out the door. And that's what's going out into our community. That one little change I make is affecting much further than me, but it has a huge impact. So think about some of the things in your life. Think of the things that you love to do and where you interact with other people. In what way is your participation having an impact? And how far is that impact able to go as a result? The other thing that I do is Tai Chi. So today I've got my mic down there, but also you've got my Tai Chi symbol on here. One, the symbol, the yin yang symbol, has power in it. Right? Just wearing that symbol has power. Now there's 5 dots on each side. On this shirt, we chose to do them in gold. I'm just going to move my microphone up here. And we chose to do them in gold because it is Year of the Snake. And on the back side, you can see the symbol on the back. Year of the Snake, it's actually the green snake. Green snake has the opportunity to shed its skin. Green is connecting wood element. So that's liver and gallbladder. So that is detoxing, that's changing, that's growth, that's renewal. And as a snake sheds its skin, this new is possible. So that's what I'm wearing on my back, which is fantastic as a symbol, but also for me as I think about my day. And my participation in Tai Chi Cape Breton is as a volunteer. I'm a volunteer instructor. And what does that mean? everything that I do related to Tai Chi has a ripple effect. Has a ripple effect to me because that's something I do several times a week. And I think it's like five, 6 times a week I'm doing Tai Chi. And even when I'm not doing Tai Chi, I'm often doing the set in my head in bed. If I have trouble going to sleep, or when I wake up and I'm just not quite ready to get up yet, then I might just think about a couple of moves in my mind and just let the movements kind of weave through me, and my body knows them. So that Tai Chi is there all the time, and it's changing the way I live, and it changes the way I come from the heart. When I'm participating in anything, it doesn't matter if there's one person or 100 people, I'm able to share with one person. That makes a ripple effect. And when I'm with my Tai Chi people, it's my happy place. I love every day that I get to spend with Tai Chi people. They come from all walks of life. They have so many incredible backgrounds. We're all there to help each other to feel better and to learn and grow with the material. And we take that back to our communities, because some people travel quite a distance to come to class with me. Some people come online and do class with me, and they're in other countries. But that ripple effect is going back out to other communities and to the way people participate in health and wellness where they are. So again, you think about, what is the ripple effect that happens? So the journey is the reward. Get a clear vision for outcome. How can I be participating? How can I make a difference? How far can that difference go as a result of what we're doing? All right. I would like to take you to one more idea. So this weekend I was presenting Tai Chi for a group, was a retreat for drummers, and it was lovely. Drumming circles are amazing, amazing places to hang out. And what I was doing, presenting things that were found in my little black book of Qi, my YINtegration program. Now, YINtegration, this is set 1 in this book. It's the only one that I actually published. I have 20 sets. I think I'm on 21, 22 sets of different content that I've done based on movement, intention, and understanding how to balance the body for self-care. And I'm just going to point the 2 parts at the bottom because I'm very proud of these 2 pieces. This program received the Living Now Book Award, but last year it also received the Can Be Well Award as a legacy leader. Now, there's 2 ways to look at that. One is I'm excited that I have an award for a book, but the second part is, as a legacy leader, how am I helping the next generation to think differently, look at self-care differently, and how am I advancing that? And this book was my opportunity to really hone in on simple things, how to properly sit on a chair, how to go up and down the stairs using Qi power. And there are so many little tidbits in here that I use every day and that I often teach at workshops because they're simple and people just don't know them. And they're just everyday kinds of things. I do love the stair piece in here, but what you'll find also in this book is affirmations for the stairs, because you can use the stairs to shift the way things are going for you and to shift your focus and your goals. That was pretty profound. Also in here is things about sitting and moving and ways to think about sleeping. So lots of tidbits. I'm sharing that with you because you can get the ebook in my store and you can get the videos, but they're so simple. They are just simple tools for every day. And if you change what you're doing, how might the people in your family change what they're doing? How might others change what they're doing? So that leads me to the last thing I wanted to talk about today for this podcast. And that is, when you're presented with the opportunity to change, what do you do about it? I had several conversations actually at Toast and Tea last week for people who have been given a tool to change a health challenge. They tried it once and then they let it go. And then they were offered another tool, and they tried it once, and they let it go. Now, the one particular person is caring for elderly parents, and so is a caregiver. Now, caregivers often, they move to burnout very quickly because they give so much of themselves, knowing all of the tasks that need to be done to keep some people safe and in their home. And that is a huge gift that they're giving. But the gift they're not giving is the one to themselves. And you know that when you get on an airplane and they say, if the oxygen mask comes down, put your mask on first before you put it on anybody else. It's because if you are not taken care of, then the people around you cannot be taken care of. And how often you do something beyond yourself for others because you want to serve, but you are not taking care of you first. And that was just a great example to me last week because several people said, oh, yeah, that tool, I have that tool. I've not used it. I think, why? Why? If somebody has said to you, this tool is very helpful for whatever your challenge is, why are you not using it? What is it that's stopping you from being the best you can be? And why do you want to continue to have whatever ailment it is that's bothering you? So it could be something, and I get a lot of this. So hips and knees. There are a lot of challenges with hips and knees. Well, knees are around fear. Knees are blocked emotions based on activities you're involved in where you're really stuck. And your hip is where all your energy and vitality is. So if you have been ignoring things in your life right down to the hips locking up, that's a lot of ignoring. So in what way could you start to pay attention, activate and be involved and start to change that? The way you move your shoulder seam and your hip seam is how you start to build chi and store it. And it's stored below the belly button. It's called the lower dantian. If you walk in the chakra world, then it's called the sacral chakra. And that space is sacred space. A lot is happening in that space, but it can't happen if there isn't enough energy. So my participation several times a week in Tai Chi is spending 1 or 2 hours activating that, building and storing and feeling really great about bringing that to myself first. And then everything I choose to do afterwards, I know I have the energy stored. And that brings us to the final piece, which is going beyond our needs. So if you've put your oxygen mask on first, if you've taken care of yourself before you've taken care of others, awesome. Then the question is, do you know when it's time to stop? Because that's the other part that a lot of people come to me with questions about is I just, then I'm just so exhausted I have to go sleep. Well, you likely went too far. People jump in the car. They want to get from here to Halifax is 3.5 hours. It's really nice if you don't stop anywhere and you can just get to your place. However, you have that little bell that comes on in your car and that on the window in the screen that says, you've been driving for 2 hours. Now, how many people ignore it and continue to drive? That is the perfect time to get out of the car and take a few minutes to do some Tai Chi moves, walk around, make sure you've drunk water, really build everything back up. Being in a car is very stressful. The electricity around the car is a stressful thing. And then you have the screen that's going to be shining a light on you while you're driving as well. So taking the time is so important. Remember, the journey is the reward. When you got in the car, it isn't about being there at exactly 3.5 hours from when you left. It's about arriving in time for your activity, but taking the time along the way to take care of yourself. And when people go out in the garden, and everybody has in mind, I'm going to get that flower bed done, or I'm going to get all that topsoil laid out, or I'm going to mow the whole lawn. But what they're not thinking about is, what is your body prepared for? How much energy have you stored before you begin? And how much energy do you have to give to the project? So very often they find that wall that they hit where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm tired, but I just want to get it done. So I'm just going to push through. We don't say, body, are you okay if I push through? Is it okay if I do 15 more minutes? Can you find the energy for that? We don't say that. We say, I'm going to push through. Now, if somebody said that to you and they said, go do that work and finish it till you're done, you'd be like defiantly opposed to that. Well, that's what happens to the body because you just like plug right on through. And that's when you get to the other end. The knees hurt, the hip hurts, the shoulders hurt, you have sore muscles. You finish the project and then you have to rest. Some people have to rest for a day or two because they did too much. Why? Why? What is it you want to prove to your body? That you're the boss? The body is the boss. It has the programs in place. It knows what it needs to keep you healthy. Our job is to provide it what it needs to stay healthy. All right. As you think about your day, you think about your goal, think about the energy and vitality you have stored or not stored yet for today. I want you to think about the activities you're choosing that allow for your self-care to be the top priority and for you to be building and storing energy that's used all day long. And if you start to do that, how is your activity towards yourself going to impact the people around you, your mood, the way you do things, how you make decisions, how you answer questions? How is that going to impact the people around you? And how is that going to affect beyond you? All right. I'm going to take my Lucky Dragon tea, have one more sip, finish our conversation. Now, in Tai Chi, we like to drink green tea. High in antioxidants, great micronutrients, fantastic, hot or cold. It's a lovely way, I love green tea, to be able to really bring more vitality to myself. And so sipping on tea through the day is wonderful. Now I'm going to ask you, where's your posture? I did not have to move mine at all. And if I go to turn my head, what does your head turn like now? Ooh, the kink in my neck on that side is gone. Actually, it's gone on that side as well. There was a little clunk, but I could actually turn without the same feeling. And if I go to my breath, I can feel, as the breath goes in, I can feel the lift and the suspension that air provides into the space in the joints. And you may go, what? That's for another episode. All right. Have a fabulous day. Consider how you're taking care of you before you take care of others. And then go continue to be the shining star that we need in this world to change the way people are feeling and experiencing life and to feel like they're supported and loved. You are loved. I'm so glad you've been here. Have a wonderful day. Be well. Thank you for listening to Be Well with Dr. Michelle Greenwell. There are a couple of resources I want to just point out. When you go to the website greenwellcenter.com, you'll have a pop-up window. That pop-up gives you the top 8 easy stress releasers that you can use every day. That's something you can put beside your computer, the bathroom mirror, beside the bedside table. A great resource. Also, my YouTube channel. It is full of playlists with all kinds of different ways that you can activate energy and bring vitality into your day. You can find that when you go to YouTube at Michelle Greenwell. And last, if you're a Linktree person, Linktree, linktr.ee/Greenwell Center. That has all my resources in one spot. Those are for intricate little things that you can't get everywhere. And it's a wonderful way for me to be able to share all the different aspects of the kind of work I do. So thank you for listening. Be sure to drink that tea. And if you want to have the tea blend that was shared in the podcast today, then be sure to check out capebretontea.ca. Have a wonderful day.